Welcome to the On Deck podcast for all your baseball DFS needs with your superstar host, fantasy baseball experts, Casey, Bubba, and Bogman. On Deck podcast is sponsored by LineStar app, the #1 top-rated data and analytics tool for daily fantasy sports.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the On Deck MLB DFS podcast brought to you by LineStar. Check them out on Twitter at LineStar app, at LineStar MLB, and get their app in the Apple App Store, Google Play App Store. It is awesome. You will not regret it. All the cool tools, optimizers, value tools, stack tools, chats, the works. So go check it all out. You can find me on Twitter at BDentric and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how we doing, man?
Bogman Sports. Let's go.
I'll get it right one of these days.
It's a long night, man. We also recorded a radio show tonight too, so a little later for us than normal. But hey, D-backs got a sweep, man, and I watched a lot of the game, even though it started at 9. Well, that was yesterday's game, was 9:30. But yeah, this game today was a lot of fun. Another extra innings game for my D-backs. David Peralta drove in 7, so
crazy. That almost hit for the cycle.
Yeah, that was exciting to see, and yeah, a lot of other exciting stuff today too. So it was a good one.
Yeah, Giants picked up the dub. Dodgers has continued where they left off last week with excitement. Good stuff there. We have the Mariners and extras getting the job done. Yeah, good stuff all around the diamond when you really break it all down. But I'm not going to spend much time on it, Bogman, because we have 14 games. 14 games on a Friday.
Yeah, so the only game we don't have on the slate for tomorrow is Milwaukee at Chicago at 11. Everything else is on our radar.
The one thing I'll say, if you're playing in that game, early weather looks like the wind's blowing out in Wrigley. So if you're playing a showdown slate, enjoy that one. Yeah. But we will break down
what Kyle Hendricks needs.
Exactly. Low velocity wind blowing out. Wow. Yeah. Avisel Garcia, anybody? Travis Shaw, anybody? All right. So we got no real rain to worry about on this 14-game slate, which is outstanding. You got some wind blowing out in Boston, wind blowing out in the Citi Field, and wind blowing into Detroit. Other than that, nothing too crazy. But we will get cracking on this one. 14 games, starting off with Oakland at Baltimore. Over under 9.5 in this game. We got Cole Irvin for the A's versus Jorge Lopez of Baltimore. Cole Irvin is 92 on DK. He is 62 on DK, 67 on FanDuel. You have Jorge Lopez is 6K on DK and 63 on FanDuel. Who are you liking on this when it comes to the bats?
Yeah, I mean, A's bats against Lopez, you know what I mean? Matt Olson, 5,000, 3,700, cheap on DK. Jed Lowry, like you've mentioned a bunch of times in a row, he is hot right now at 4,800 and 3,400. Then we've got Mark Canha at 4,300 and 3,500. And we also have Mitch Moreland, who has been nice and hot, 3,100 and 2,300. So a nice, cheap first base option. A lot of good first base options that are cheap today. So it's going to be kind of hard to narrow it down.
It is hard to narrow it down. I love Olsen, 6 homers in his last 10 games, just absolutely crushing baseballs. The Moreland is a good pivot. On FanDuel, you can use them both if you want to go that route, which is nice. On DraftKings, you got Laureano's 5K on DraftKings, he's 34 on FanDuel. Makes me like Mark Canha more at 43 on DraftKings. You could do like a Canha, Lowry, Olsen stack if you prefer, because I obviously love Lowry like we talked about. So yeah, the A's, very, very much in on the A's because Jorge Lopez is hot garbage, and you're in Camden Yards. There's going to be 3 totals of 9.5 for over on this slate, and this is one of them. So I guess it's a great pivot off of Coors when we get there. So keep that in mind. Are there any Orioles bats against the lefty Cole Irvin?
I not really for me. I'm just not interested. There's too many bats to pick from to be wasting them on Orioles batters, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, there's nothing that really stands out. If you want to try to go with some Trey Mancini, you can, but nothing that goes too crazy in my mind as well. So we're on the same page there. Let's go to New York, Washington at the Mets. We have a Eric Fede versus Jacob deGrom, total of 7. Jacob DeGoat, I should say, is 10-9 on DraftKings. He's 12-5 on FanDuel. Eric Fede, on the other hand, 7K on DraftKings and 68 in FanDuel. Not sure that matters much.
Yeah, you didn't even have to give out his price, right?
DeGrom on DK at 10-9 is a cash lock for me, for one.
Yeah.
And like if you want to play him, and he's got over 40 points in the last 2 games. He struck out 14 guys in each of the last 2 games. It's insane, Bogman.
He's on fire right now. So it's kind of, with the other 2 big starters on the slate, Darvish and Kershaw facing off against each other, that it makes DeGrom kind of the easy cash buy. So I'm right there with you on DeGrom.
Yeah, if you want to play him in tournaments, you can. If you want to play pivots to be different, I get it. We'll talk about some of those as well. But cash, I'm just playing him. You can find value on FanDuel even at 12.5 to make it work. He's going to probably get a quality start. Great chance for a win. It's very hard to pass on this. And there's no Juan Soto even to make it even better in this lineup. So it just becomes fun for DeGrom. What bats do you like in this game? Because, again, the wind's supposedly blowing out the left. Fede's not great. The Mets could kind of be a sneaky look if you want to go there.
Yeah, I like some PVB bats here. And I know that our guy, Jeff McNeil, hasn't been hitting yet 167 on the season with only 1 homer here. But he's 5 for 7 in his career off of Fede with a double. So a 7.14 average against the pitcher is pretty solid. Michael Conforto, 3 for 7 with a bomb off of Fede as well. If you're trying to play contrarian, Andrew Stevenson, 3 for 7. All 3 of his hits against DeGrom have been extra bases, 2 homers and a double. So if he gets in the lineup, he's kind of a free square at 2,400 and 2,100, which, if you're the Nationals and you're playing against DeGrom, why not throw out a guy that has a good record against DeGrom, right? So it would make sense to see him in the lineup, but since he's not an everyday player, we got to make sure he's in there. Turner has a good track record too. He's a 268 hitter with a double and a homer, 11 for 41 against DeGrom, but he is pricey at 48.37. And then Starlin Castro, 11 for 36, so a 300 hitter against DeGrom, but only 2 of his 11 hits have been for extra bases, and that is 2 doubles. He's at 34 and 23. So some contrarian plays, but I like McNeil. Specifically on FanDuel, he's becoming way, way cheaper. 4,300 on DK sale, but 2,400 on FanDuel is just an unbelievable price.
Yeah, you got to imagine he eventually gets it going, so you could play with that price and enjoy it. I won't be using any national bats. If it was a smaller slate, I could see the argument for being contrarian, stacking against DeGrom, the popular play, but he'll be popular, but also there'll be other guys up top that kind of spread out the ownership. And with 28 teams to pick bats from, I think I can cross the Nationals off the list tonight. But I do like the Mets as a contrarian stack, like I said. Alonso's homered in back-to-back games. Got no problem going back to the well against Fede in this one. Lindor looks like he might be getting it going again. So that's 2 angles there. The other one is J.D. Davis, since he's come back from the IL, swinging a very good bat. He's 37 on DK, 24 on FanDuel. He'll get kind of overlooked, I believe. So, and Dom Smith as well. His numbers don't look great, but if you look at his StatCast numbers and his overall quality of content and plate discipline, he's been outstanding. So you can get some low ownership with these Mets bats if you want to get a little sneaky on this slate. All right, Mariners at the Red Sox. Here's our second game, 9.5 or over. Total's 9.5 on this one. You say Kikuchi, I say uh-oh. Martin Perez. This is a fun one here. You got Kikuchi at 72. You have on DK 79 on FanDuel. Martin Perez is 68 on DK, 6,000 on FanDuel. I'm a Kikuchi fan. I just on a slate of this magnitude, I'm not going there. I do like some bats though. Bogman, what do you like here?
Yeah, I like a Boston stack against Kikuchi here. I mean, not that Martin Perez is going to pitch great. He hasn't made it past 5 innings in any of his 3 starts, and his last one was only 3 2/3. So I'm not banking on any pitching here. I'm with you. I like Kikuchi, but not against a hot Red Sox lineup. So let's stack some Red Sox bats. I mean, Martinez, 6,000, 4,400. You can pay up. Bogarts, 5,600, 3,300 on FanDuel, so still cheap over there. Kike, 4,000, 3,000. Bobby Dahlback, 3,600 and 2,200. So that could be a decent buy there too. On the Seattle side, there's some nice PVB data here for Seager, 18 of 55 in his career off of Martin Perez, because Martin Perez has been around the league since I believe we were born, Bubba. So been around for a while. 4 homers and a double in his 18 hits against Perez, and also Mitch Haniger, 7 for 21. Andy's hot right now with 2 doubles against Kikuchi or against Perez as well.
Yep, love Haniger, 41 on DK, 34 on FanDuel. He was in my cash lineups on Thursday. He'll be back in them on Friday. Great spot there. And if you want to stack Haniger, France, and Seager, I did that on Thursday. I love them all. France at 38 on DK, 32 on FanDuel. He's very much alive in cash as well. But I love the stack. Seager hits lefties well. You mentioned the PVB. I like that quite a bit. As I think most will go to Boston in this game, and it makes sense. I like kind of sitting on that top three in that Seattle lineup to differentiate. Kyle Lewis is even there batting fourth for cheap. I'm not a Kyle Lewis guy, but if you want to go all in and get a four-man stack, he's super cheap. A nice way to get DeGrom and some offensive production in your DraftKings lineup, especially. Something to think about. Toronto at Tampa Bay. This is a fun one here. I like the pitching matchup in this game. You have Steven Matz versus Tyler Glasnow. Over-under is 7, so apparently Vegas likes this pitching matchup too. Tyler Glasnow is 10-1 on DK. He's 11-2 on FanDuel. Steven Matz is 89 on DK, 95 on FanDuel. I think both pitchers are alive here, Boston. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like both of these guys, but Glasnow's my guy. I mean, he's just been crazy good, but not a lot of bats to buy on either side of this. Rowdy Tellez is the only guy in the Toronto lineup that really hits Glasnow. 3 for 9 with 2 bombs against him, and not a lot on the other side that I want against Matz. None of these guys have a real good track record against him either, or a track record to speak of. So maybe a Rosarena at 4,600 and 3,000 on FanDuel, but this is one of the few games I'm way more into both sides of the pitching than I am to any of the hitters here.
Yeah, I think both these pitchers are very live. I think on DK, when you get a $10,100 Glasnow, I think he's a good tournament pivot off of DeGrom if you want to be different.
Yeah.
Like in cash, I still want DeGrom. But on DK, I could see a pivot to Glasnow. You save 800, and I think he still has a tremendous ceiling, which you want a tournament. So I see that appeal. You could make the same argument for FanDuel, but I think price-wise, I'd rather go to someone else. We'll talk about later on FanDuel. But on DraftKings, I'm good going there. Because like you mentioned, Kershaw and Darvish face each other. So like you could go there, but they could offset things in the same way. So that's tough. So I like Glasnow on DraftKings. Matz I like on DraftKings as well, especially as an SP2, or if you're just punting pitching for some reason. I don't even hate him as an SP1. If I'm looking at bats, it'd be from Tampa Bay's side, but I'm not in love with it either. Like you mentioned, Rosarena, Margot still 2,700 on both sides. You can pick and choose here, but it's pretty much just bats for me, and the total of 7 kind of makes a lot of sense as well. All right, we have the New York Yankees at the Cleveland Indians on this one. We have a Jordan Montgomery versus Logan Allen. Totals 8.5. So 2 lefties going out of here. 2 lefties we've seen good stuff from, bad stuff from. Jomo's 92 on DK. He's 75 on FanDuel. Logan Allen is 81 on DK, and he's 62 on FanDuel. I think I'm avoiding the pitching here. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, look, a contrarian or pivot player, whatever, I kind of like Montgomery, but I think for the most part, for this game, I'm just going to go with the big bats on both sides here. So for me, it's Aaron Judge at 54 and 38, Stanton at 42 and 37, LeMahieu at 46 and 31, especially on FanDuel. I'm buying LeMahieu for sure. Then Jose Ramirez, 5,100, 3,200 on FanDuel, and Franmil, 4,800 and 3,000. So like the prices on the big bats here.
For the Indians, Luplow at 39 on DK, 31 on FanDuel. Loves his left. He's hitting righties too, but he's another one you can throw into your little mix there. And then I'm going to keep playing Glaber. We got 3 for 5 on Thursday. He moved his average from 186 to like 220. That's why people need to stop stressing about the small sample size. If he basically gets 1 or 2 hits in each of the next couple of games, he's probably hitting like 265 or 270. So just like slow it down. He's going to be okay. He's 42 on DK, but I love it on FanDuel because you got scroll for a while. He's 2,500. So it's one of those you could match him with a Stanton and a Judge combo and then get Torres on top of that, and I don't hate it. So I'm not going over the moon to play a whole lot in this game, but if you want like the big bats, like you said, to go for some home run upside, totally get it. No problem with that at all. KC at Detroit. In this one, we have Mike Minor versus Casey Mize, total of 8. Like, this is one of those kind of 3 true outcome games we talk about. I could see these pitchers pitching decent enough to make no fantasy relevance for hits. I could see both guys getting shelled. I could see all kinds of scenarios. How are you attacking this game?
Yeah, I think I like the bats here. I don't want any part of the pitchers, so I'm just going to straight up pass on the pitching side. But I do like some of the bats here. Candelario in his career against Minor, only 7 plate appearances, but 3 hits, 2 of them for extra bases, a double and a homer. Wilson Ramos, 7 for 14 against Minor in his career, so hitting 500 against him with a bomb. I think that's pretty good. We know Nunez likes hitting lefties, 4,200, 3,100, and Robbie Grossman at 35 and 28 are all good prices here. So I kind of like a little mini Tiger stack in this game.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. The other guy that for Detroit that I like that's kind of heating up, and he's a very, very streaky hitter, is Jonathan Scope. He's 3,300 on DK, and he's a guy we know loves facing a lefty. So I'd go there's 24 on FanDuel. He's first base, second base on DK, just second base only on FanDuel. So he's another value. I love the guys you mentioned, Ramos and Candelario and all them. They're all in play. Are there any Royals you're trying to attack Casey Mize with?
No, not really. I'm not into Royals at bats today. One of those teams where, when you're playing with 28 teams, just not a team I'm going to worry about.
Yep, I'm with you. That's why I don't even know if I want a full stack Detroit. I think, like we talked about it recently, how early on this season, it seems like the winning lineups, it's like 4 or 5 man stacks and then some one-offs. Like in tournaments, you want your one-offs to have home run to double dong type upside. Well, that's Jonathan Scope. Like he might get you a 0 or he might get you 2 home runs. So I think he's one of those values if you're looking for it on both sides that you can stack up a big lineup or get a DeGrom. I kind of like that kind of angle for these kind of games we're interested in, but not all the way interested in. Arizona at Atlanta. This is going to be, I'm really intrigued to get your take on this one. It's Luke Weaver versus Huascar Younoa. Total's 8.5 on this one. I'll be honest. I'm not a Weaver believer. He's 76 on FanDuel. On DK, 7K on FanDuel. Younoa is 75 on DK, 69 on FanDuel. Younoa's 2 great starts. People are all about him. Gets shelled against the Cubs. Weaver's been decent. Are you on either pitcher in this matchup?
If I'm going to pick one, it would be Weaver because his confidence is back. He is a 2-pitch pitcher, but he's attacking the zone a little bit more, which can be dicey against the Braves. So I think for the most part, I'm going to beg off of this game just wholly and completely. But if I'm picking one pitcher, I think it would probably be Weaver, just for the fact that the Diamondbacks have been hitting the last couple games. Like you said, we've waited until extra innings to get hits, but they are hitting the last couple days. And the bats that I do like, I don't know if Acuna is even going to play. And he has a good track record, 4 for 8 against Weaver with 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles and a bomb. And Albies hasn't been himself, and he has a good track record against Weaver too. I guess the only other bats I really like are, Freeman, 62 and 39. He's expensive though. Peralta's coming off the 7 RBI game at 3,800 and 2,600. And then Pavin Smith still hitting leadoff at 3,300 and 2,400 are some decent prices. And Freddie Freeman's good, but I think for the most part, I'm going to leave this game alone.
Yeah, you get the Pavin Smith value. You can get Cole Calhoun value, 27 on both sides. And then the other one is Adrianza. If Acuna is out, will probably lead off again. He's 31 on DK. He's second base, third base eligible. On FanDuel, he's second base, shortstop eligible. He's 24. So there's those angles. And then in tournaments, similar to the scope theory I had, again, not a stack, but like a one-off power bat, Austin Riley is really, really cheap. 22 on FanDuel, and on DK, he's even crazy cheaper. I just had him here say like 3K, I believe. I got to get back to that game.
Who was it?
Austin Riley. I'm like blind. Oh, he's 33. So, yeah, those, I think he's intriguing in a tournament if you want to get just really, really different there. But yeah, overall, I'm not in love with this game. The last thing I will mention, if you're making a lot of lineups, make 1 or 2 with Younoa as your starter. Because if Arizona reverts back to the Arizona before the Cincinnati series, and if Younoa reverts back to the guy we saw for 2 starts, he could be super low owned with tremendous tournament upside.
Yeah, so, it's just, and I'm with you. And I think if the Diamondbacks hadn't put up 14 today, I would be right there with you. But because, sometimes confidence builds confidence.
I agree.
So,
that's why I'm really torn on this game, because I know I'm gonna be sitting there going, either whatever I do or don't do, it's going to be the opposite. I can already see it coming. So I'm just going to avoid the game. But I'm sitting here going, okay, I could see Younoa dealing, or I could see the cheap D-backs bats continuing to do what we've been paying them to do. Like, it's really interesting.
Right. I think it's the road trip too. The road trip usually brings those guys together.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that goes. But we're about halfway through this slate. We want to remind everybody, check out the LineStar guys on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar MLB, and go get the app in the Apple App Store, Google Play, App Store, all that good stuff. You won't regret it. Give a rate and review on iTunes. The guys would appreciate that. We would appreciate that. And also, if you'd rather watch the podcast instead of just listen to it, our sultry sounds, you can see our pretty faces, our beautiful faces, I should say, on the LineStar YouTube channel. Subscribe there, like, share, all of that great stuff and things. All right.
Bubba has beautiful blue eyes, as the lady at the Chick-fil-A drive-thru told him.
Exactly. It was so flattered, and I had a blessed day, so it was awesome. We have Texas at the White Sox. No total on this one yet, but it's Dane Dunning versus Dylan Cease. Dunning 73 on DK, 85 on FanDuel. Cease 66 on DK, 66 on FanDuel. Any interest in the pitchers here?
I wish this game played on Thursday because I kind of like Dunning in this start, but there's too many other options for me to pick from, and I have my favorite contrarian play a little bit later too. So not going to mess with the pitching here. I like a Rangers stack against Cease.
Really?
Because Cease is not himself right now.
He's not himself, but my thing with Cease in a tournament, I can use him as a punt because the Rangers are striking out 29% of the time versus right-handed pitching. So my goal is that, and you got to like try to play this in your head. So if you don't agree, don't play him. But if he can give me 5 innings and strike out 6+, which should easily happen against Texas, he can give up 4 runs. Like, it doesn't matter. So in a tournament,
let's take the lefties against him, though. That's what I'm saying.
So what stack are you doing?
Take the lefties. Take Nate Lowe at 47.34.
I like Lowe a lot. Yeah, Lowe's a good one.
Gallo at 42 and 3,000, and Willie Calhoun at 28 and 24.
Yeah, that's a good discount. And if you like, okay, and I keep mentioning it just because what we've been seeing in the winning lineups, if you make a full stack, Nick Solak is like nuclear on fire right now. So if you want to be contrarian and throw a righty into that mix, you're good right there.
I'm with it. I'm absolutely.
Or even if you don't want Solak, if you want to save some money, because Solak's 32 on FanDuel, 49 on DK, you can play Adolis Garcia, who's hitting like cleanup. And
got to make sure he's in there, of course. Yeah, if he's in there, do him.
Yeah, I got no problem attacking Cease. That's why I tell people it's like, okay, it's tournament only, and there's a reason he's $6,600.
Right.
They expect him to get hit. Like I'm not playing him on FanDuel. It's strictly an SP2 in a tournament on DK. That is it. So just keep that in mind if you're looking that way. It is not for the faint of heart, and there is risk involved. All right. Angels at the Astros. We have a pitcher I know you like a lot in this game, or usually, maybe not tonight. Mm-hmm. Andrew Heaney versus Zach Greinke. Total is 8 in this game. Greinke's 87 on DK. He's 9K on FanDuel. Heaney is 65 on DK. He's 73 on FanDuel. Are you going to any of your boys here?
I'm not going to go with Heaney or Greinke. No, thank you. I'm going to pass on the pitching here. I'll go with some hitters. There's some decent PVB data in this game, of course, because Greinke has been around for 20 years or whatever. So Gurriel has matched up against Heaney too, 5 for 17 with a double and 2 homers against him. And then all on the Angel side against Greinke, Justin Upton's at 3,200. You mentioned how hot he is yesterday. He's 12 for 39 in his career against Greinke with 2 doubles, a triple, and 3 homers. So that is 6 extra base hits in his 12 hits against Greinke in his career. Mike Trout did take one off the elbow and left early today, so he may not be in the lineup tomorrow. But if he is, he's 7 for 22 with a double, 2 triples, and a homer off of Greinke in his career. If Pujols gets in the lineup and he's cheap on both sides, 2,900, 2,600, he is 14 for 43, so 326 in his career off of Greinke with 6 doubles and a homer. And Kurt Suzuki, the catcher, 7 for 24 off of Greinke in his career with a double and a homer, hitting 292. Other options here: Ohtani 51 and 38. Carlos Correa, 5,000 and 3,000 on FanDuel is really cheap. And Bregman, 4,900 and 3,300. I'm definitely having Bregman in my lineups on FanDuel at 3,300. That price is just too good.
Yeah, no, they hit on Thursday, that's for sure. So maybe the Astros would we talked about it a bit the night before, that they're have their whole lineup together. They're getting healthy finally. You're just waiting for that other shoe to drop, and the splitter for Cobb did not work, and they took advantage of it. Maybe they keep things going against Heaney. They do like facing a lefty. So if you're going to attack this game, I like it from that aspect or the Upton value. Otherwise, I'm kind of avoiding the game. It's a weird game. I can see like another 3 true outcome that I'm just going to avoid. Pittsburgh at Minnesota, over under 8.5 in this one. JT Brubaker, J.A. Happ. This is a very weird game because pitchers are decent. Hitters have been off and on. Brubaker 78 on DK. He's 83 on FanDuel. J.A. Happ is 63 on DK, 62 on FanDuel. I can make arguments at least on DraftKings for both pitchers. Are you in on either one of them?
This is my contrarian pitchers, JT Brubaker. I like him a lot in this game, and I know Minnesota has some good bats, but they're banged up right now. Cruz is day-to-day. Simmons is out. Kepler's out. Miguel Sano's day-to-day. They have
Miguel Sano's going on the IL. That came out about an hour ago.
Okay, so he's gone. So
they're going to call Kirilloff up.
Okay. Oh, wow. I didn't even see that. But so they are missing big parts of their lineup here potentially for tomorrow. So I like Brubaker at this price. Also on Happ has been a little rough. Phillip Evans is still cheap, 3,000. Brian Reynolds at 4,029. And Todd Frazier hasn't, he just came up, but if he gets in this lineup, he is 6 for 18 against Happ in his career with 2 doubles and 2 bombs. So he sees him really well. He's 27 and 2,400. So kind of like Frazier if he's in the lineup, and I like Brubaker. So I kind of like a little pirate stack here.
Real quick, do you like Brubaker on both sites, or is it just one site specific?
No, I like him on both sites. I think you could throw him in wherever.
And then I have no problem with Brubaker. I think he's in play. I think J.A. Happ's interesting because Pittsburgh, I do like Evans and some of the guys you mentioned, but as a whole,
they're still Pittsburgh. Yeah,
we want them versus righties, not lefties. They're striking out about 28.5% of the time versus lefties. And Happ's not great, but even Happ, that should help him a little bit. And he's $6,200 or 63 on DK. So similar to my Cease argument, Happ can be one of those tournament just, hey, let's see if he can give me 5 innings or so and strike out 5 or 6, and we'll see where it goes because he can open up a lot for you as you're building your lineup. So that's kind of where I'm looking at that game. The bats do concern me, that's for sure. Cincinnati at St. Louis, over under 7.5. Sonny Gray, Kwang Hung Kim making their starts. Both of them made their debuts last time out after injuries. Didn't go long. Now we have them tonight. Sonny Gray, 93 on DK, 81 on FanDuel. Kim, 61 on FanDuel, 67 on DK. I don't really feel like paying for either of these pitchers. Do you like pitchers or bats in this game?
I like some bats, but no pitchers here for me.
Where are you going with the bats?
One PVB guy and Tommy Edman, 4 for 7 in his career off of Gray with a double. Pretty good price on FanDuel, specifically $4,400 on DK, $2,700 on FanDuel.
Finally cheaper on DK though. It's nice. Finally.
Other bats, Castellanos, 5,300, 3,600. He just came off of his suspension. Nolan Arenado, 46 and 33. Suarez hit a bomb yesterday. Of course, the day after I pick him, Bubba, he hits a bomb.
Never fails.
46 and 32. Jonathan India got his first homer the other day, 3,400, 2,700. Dylan Carlson is 2,800 on both. I love that price for him.
Yeah, the Carlson price is outstanding. Absolutely, because the way I look at it is I don't see both pitchers going too deep, and we just saw how good that Cincinnati bullpen is. So the Cardinals, that's like the angle you can play. Like if Sonny Gray goes 5, so be it. That's 4 innings of Cardinals. Like it took the Diamondbacks 1 inning to get all their runs. So let's be realistic about this. So Carlson at 28, I love. And then Nick Senzel on the Cincinnati side, he's close. He's real close. And the last guy I'll mention, check the lineup, but he's been playing versus righties a lot for the Cardinals. Justin Williams in the outfield, he's 21 on FanDuel, very cheap on DK as well. So you can get some nice value, like a Carlson Williams back into that lineup. Could be very, very interesting. All right, let's head to Coors Field, Philadelphia at the Colorado Rockies. Vince Velasquez, Herman Marquez, over under 10.5. Poor Vinny V. I like Vinny V, but tonight Vinny V is going to get slaughtered. I'm not using either pitchers. Are you?
Stack. So no pitchers. Absolutely. What's the over? Did you say the over?
10.5. 10.5.
10.5?
I thought it would be higher personally. I thought it would, but maybe that's Marquez respect because the Rockies should just destroy Vinny V.
He's been better at home, but he's still walking as many as he strikes out. I think he's like at home, he's like 10 walks and 12 Ks. So he's rough too. So you stack either side of this one. Lots of decent PVB data here too. Trevor Story, 4 for 15, but all 4 hits for extra bases against Vinny V. Like you said, 2 doubles, 2 homers. Charlie Blackmon, 6 for 18 in his career against Velasquez. McCutchen, 3 for 6 with a double against Marquez. 4 for 8 for Harper with a double. 3 for 9 with a bomb for Hoskins. Your boy Dom Nunez, like that lefty-righty matchup, 38-37. And Tapia is cheap, 3,000 on DK.
Stupid.
3,300 more expensive on FanDuel. So get Tapia in your lineup for sure. Like you're probably going Tapia over Carlson, right?
Yeah, just because of the matchup in Coors Field, you have to.
Right. But on FanDuel, I think you would go Carlson because he's $500 cheaper.
Yeah, so. Carlson on FanDuel for sure, but the $200 difference on DK, you just take Tapia leading off. That's just where that one's going. Like it's funny. You can play Tapia in cash and in tournaments on DK. Nunez at 38 is a great cash game catcher. Garrett Hampson's 37 on both sides. He's not leading off anymore, but if he's still hitting 6th, that's really cheap, especially on DraftKings. CJ Cron's only 39 on DraftKings. Like you get a lot of values when it comes to Colorado. That just stands out like a sore thumb. So check even Charlie Blackmon's only 45 on DK, which really isn't that expensive, all things considered. So it's pretty wild. I don't not like Philadelphia guys, but they're priced up appropriately. I like Harper at 57. I think might still be too cheap, to be honest. But you can stack this game. I prefer the Rocky side, but you can stack this game. All right. Couple more to go here. Miami at San Francisco. We got a couple pitchers duels for the last 2 games. Sandy Alcantara, Alex Wood, over under 77.5. Alcantara 74 on DK, 8K on FanDuel. Wood is 71 on DK. He's 77 on FanDuel. And Bogman, the way you like JT Brubaker, I love Sandy Alcantara tonight against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm an Alcantara guy for tonight too. So I like him as a tourney play for sure.
Yeah, I'm all aboard that. And personally, I don't want bats in either situation here. It's just Alcantara for me. Like I'll play him in cash and tournaments if you want, especially on DraftKings. Like for me on DraftKings, it's DeGrom and Alcantara for cash games. But I don't really want any bats in this game. Do you?
No, but there's a couple I like, but I'm watching Quick Pitch on in the background here, and they're showing the gigantic bunny. Yeah, there's a foul ball hit right over by the bunny. So
why didn't the bunny catch it? That's right, because it's a bunny.
I kind of like some of the prices here. Adam Duvall 39 and 29. I think that's a good price for him against Wood, and Jesus Aguilar still cheap, 3,400 and 2,800. So the prices are still pretty solid on both those guys. And Aguilar walked. I think he might have scored a run tonight. I can't remember, but he's at least getting on base, and the power is going to come at some point. You mentioned the Jazz Chisholm thing yesterday, so he's going to get rocking pretty soon.
Yep, it's coming eventually, maybe after this series. Last game of the night, San Diego against the Los Angeles Dodgers, over under 7, Darvish, Kershaw. It's going to be a great one to watch. Kershaw 10-2 on DK, 11,000 on FanDuel. Darvish is 97 on DK, 10-2 on FanDuel. Talked a little bit ago. I'll go Darvish on DK. Probably use neither one on FanDuel. What do you like for the pitching here?
Yeah, I love both these guys, but I don't want either side of it tonight. Yeah. So they're too expensive. You can flip down. You can play the guys that we mentioned in tourneys. You can flip down to Glasnow. I would rather pay up for Glasnow against Toronto or go with DeGrom against Washington. So for both of these pitchers, they're both great, and that's why they're priced up. If I had to pick one, I'd take Darvish because he's the cheaper option on both sites, but I don't want either one tonight.
Yep, we're on the same page there. Like I get it. I get where the heads are at, but it's a 14-game slate. If it's a smaller slate, it'd be much more of a discussion to me. A 14-game slate, we just keep it simple.
And because they're so good, they're going to be highly owned. So be contrarian. Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm not really interested in attacking them too much with bats. Like if you want to be really different, you can. But it's one of those games I just kind of want to sit back and enjoy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't want any bats here either. So decent PVB data if you're into that. For Hosmer, lefty on Kershaw, but 9 for 27 in his career, 333 with 2 doubles and a bomb. And Machado is 6 for 21 against Kershaw with 2 homers. So decent PVB data, but for the most part, I don't want any bats here.
Yeah, I just don't see the stacking because I don't see either pitcher getting shelled enough to be fantasy relevant. That's the problem. It's not that we don't think they're going to give up runs. They might give up a couple, but to actually pay off, it's tricky. With all that being said, Bogman, we kind of already we talked a lot about our pitchers. I think they should have an idea about who we're using to pitch. what are like your top 2 or 3 stacks? Because there's 28 teams. So who are like your top 2 or 3 stacks?
Well, Colorado is obviously one of them, and then I like this lefty Texas stack against Cease. I like the Lowe, Gallo, and Calhoun. So I think they're all priced decent.
It'll be contrarian too, so that's a good one. You mentioned Colorado. I love Oakland for Jorge Lopez. Give me the A's. I think they're going to stay red hot in that matchup. And then I like Seattle versus Martin Perez. Haniger, France, Seager. Like what we're going to dance with that one for sure. But that takes us to the moment of the evening, the moment everyone waits for. They fast forward through all the talk just for this moment, Bogman, a chance to win swag. Ryan Humphreys led them to the promised land on Thursday, thanks to Rafael Devers in the first at-bat. It's the best way to get a dawn call.
It is.
First at-bat, get it over with. Like, so great. But we're going to do it for Friday. We're all going to give a pick. They're going to tweet it out, retweet it. They're going to pick random people that if a home run happens, you win some free swag. So here you have it, Bogman, for Friday night, April 23rd. Who is your home run call today?
Let's go ahead and double down, and I'll go with Joey Gallo against Dylan Cease.
I like it. Very, very strong there. I am going to go to Camden Yards because I absolutely just love attacking this game. Give me Matty Olson. He's going to stay red hot. He's going out. Like Matty Olson, deep. You got Joey Gallo, 2 big lefties. It's a beautiful thing. So let's make it happen, Bogs.
Get them. Let's go.
All right, everybody. Hope you guys had a great week. Have a safe and fun weekend. Make some cash on Friday. We'll be back with you guys on Monday to break down another week of MLB DFS action. But for now, see you later.
Take it easy, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the LineStar app On Deck podcast. Download LineStar app from the App Store or go to LineStarApp.com for all your DFS baseball needs. If you love the On Deck podcast, support KC, Bubba, and Bogman by rating and subscribing. Good luck.